see my family, okay? But that's just one thing to implement, and the other thing is, as for the town paying 15,000 or putting towards it as maybe an option, considering there isn't a budget turned in yet, I wouldn't recommend that, and if the citizens can help out to make sure that the money gets there so the project is put through, would be more appropriate in my opinion.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Grace Simpson. I live here in Crawford, and I'm a homeowner. And I think paying the extra money each month is perfectly fine. I think it's a great idea. And if that's gonna get us to the money, to get us to the big money, I think it's an awesome idea. And my son and I are more than willing to go along with that, no question asked. But my only real comment is, when it gets down to the nitty gritty and the big money comes in, anybody but any one of you should be in charge of it. Anybody but any one of you. Because some of you on the scouts over have proven how to so much to know. And I think somebody else in outside entity should be in charge of the big money. Thank you.
Terry Zeller, and yeah, you probably ought to keep the 15,000 in your bank. You don't know where you're going to need that. As far, there's a lot of people on fixed incomes, low incomes. You know, the $16 may make a world of difference. I volunteer to take 2 of them, should 2 of them need assistance.
Thank you.
However, just to let everybody know, if we do this with the $200 and the monthly payment, that's considered a rate change. And that's a whole process that we would have to go through to get that implemented. And so we'd be looking at longer than the 20 days to get that. But that's, when we're looking at these options, that's something.
You don't
we
have 20 days.
We don't have 20 days.
Yeah, you do emergency meetings. That's not posting times, we will all be there. No, they have to have public meetings. Just give a second.
The rate change, town and just need a meeting.
Well, that's why I said they should be terms.
I'd like to.
So the question is, what would have to be done to get a rate change? A rate change would be just have to be a resolution passed by the city, the town council. It would have to be properly noticed. Usually that's about 48 to 72 hour notice.
Doesn't it have to be advertised in the Carbon County News?
It does have to be advertised and it has to be a resolution. That's passed.
Yeah.
Which would be passed at the next regular town council.
Or we can special one sooner.
Dennis Tycrow. My question is combined with my wife's there now. I know there's a lot of people here in this town that are on a fixed income or retired or something like that, and they can only afford so much. Okay, my question is also, if like our family, my wife and I, give the 200, and then say somebody else cannot do that, do they go to that so much a month? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, so that's what I'm asking. And then,
Yes, that would be an option that they would be able to pay.
yeah, so then, okay. And then, kind of an old question now, because the town was rated as a disaster, a federal disaster, was FEMA, did FEMA say that we can give the town some money, any chance? Was there any, or was there somebody that could have applied for that money? The town council?
This is FEMA money that we're getting.
Oh, that you're getting?
But, yeah, FEMA's a beast of its own.
I know it is. We've been through it.
Okay, yes, you understand that one group of FEMA people come in and they promise you, we're here to help. No, when somebody says that, the first thing you do is grab your wallet and watch it.
'Cause see,
They helped a lot of people,
yeah.
but as far as the town, as far as like, well, for instance, getting our roads fixed from the flood. We didn't have the proper maintenance records for them to allow us to fix our roads.
Well, see, the thing,
So there's a lot of different rules that go with that. Plus you gotta come up with your 25%.
well, like my wife and I were discussing, you know, if we have another flood like this, it's not gonna just affect that thing down there, it's gonna affect other people along here. So what is gonna be done to protect that over there too? Because, you know, was there gonna be a super ditch going through here that goes, so it goes down the river, or what? See what I'm saying?
Well, I sat in a meeting where that was discussed,
Yeah,
and they said that was too expensive.
yeah.
We also discussed putting a dike out there along the river, and they said that was too expensive.
I know, I remember that, I understand.
So,
But I mean, you just.
yeah, no, I sat in a meeting in Helena.
I can
where we talked about-
understand saving our water supply, that is the main point.
That is the main
That is
point,
the main point. Thank you.
yeah. That's why we're getting this thing here, is because of the water wells. Okay.
Hi, Mike. Susan B. This, you know, I believe that we should go for this, you know, like now. So if there is a proposal that it's done, the community members that can pay the $200 right now and then figure out what a monthly water bill would be, I don't even think we would mind on that, and that shouldn't be a problem. I mean, if we could, there's probably half, maybe, or at least a third of the residents in Crawford that could pay the $200. Figure that as a down payment instead of $5,000 and $15,000, and then figure out what a monthly bill would be. Why couldn't we do that to make it easier for everybody? We could do that. And those that can't pay the $200, have a little teddy bear thing set up asking, you know, if we have
Are you
families
serious? You want me
on.
to go out and beg them for $200? Is that what you're
Pardon?
saying?
Pardon?
You want me to go out and beg for $200?
No. No, I'm saying, you know, make a list of those on low income that can't afford it. And have, like the Christmas trees where you buy a gift. There are good people in this
There's
town.
wonderful people, but some poor people have pride. And they don't want other people paying their
Well,
bills for
you
it.
know-
This total amount, this is
Okay.
what we don't have.
Okay.
And we can all, everybody
Pride
else
is
can
fine.
use it. You don't have to name everybody.
And that's very true.
I'm not gonna
The
follow
thing
it.
of it is, the worst case scenario, and that's what we're talking about, is if we didn't get the grant money, it's gonna cost 249 connections in town. $200 is what we're looking at, $200.36 a piece.
Spread it
If-
out over the course of.
Or, and you can either pay it up front, or you could spread it out over the course of the year. If we do get the 36,000, which Scott and them everybody seems to be pretty certain on, we'll
Right.
see. If that's the case, then that leaves the bill at 14,000, which if everybody kicked in then, that drops it from $200 down to $56.25 per hookup. Which, again, means more. So basically, it is. And yes, I am going to pay above and beyond. I can't tell you how much above and beyond right now because of other things that's coming up. But I also will know that for this next year, all of my council dues, whatever they are per meeting, I am putting into this fund to help out individuals that cannot make, that have those issues, that have the thing. So we're trying the best that we can, my wife and I are the best that we can, to try to help as many people as we can also.
And my mother said tonight too, that she would go beyond her 200 and help some of those that can't too. So
And that's
I
what
think we
community-
should go for it, kind of get an amount and then decide.
and
Do I have to move that?
That's why we have this meeting, that's
Move
why
on
we want
that.
to hear from you guys, from the community. This is what it's about, community getting together, supporting community.
Right,
We are a small community and we need to support it.
right.
you need to get out and go door to door, because there's a lot of people not here. And as soon as you can hit every one of those people and tell them what's going on to get that money.
Yeah.
Correct, correct. And I do believe, as somebody was saying, a mailing out and stuff like that, I believe it's something that we probably will have to do. Because we need to get everybody on board with this.
Or at least aware.
Exactly, at least aware, and trying to do the best that we can. I'm talking with some other organizations also to try to see if I can't get some more donations. So with any luck, we can drop it down even further than we have to do. But what our main goal is now is to get an input, because as Tim is saying, our time is running out. We need to do something, and we need to do it now.
I mean, if I was going to make a suggestion, I would make a motion that you're going to have another public meeting to increase water rates up to $200 per home, not to exceed $200 per home.
For a year.
And then whatever else, yeah, for a year, and then whatever else comes in, obviously, you won't take that money.
Right.
You know, as far as the 20 days thing, I don't think we gotta get too hung up with, we gotta have 50, because our contribution is $145,000. We can do that, you know, instantly, basically.
Tomorrow?
Essentially, we could, if that's what it takes. You know, from a county side, we could get that ball rolling. You know, I think from our perspective, we need a commitment from the council that, yeah, we're gonna come up with the $50,000 one way or another. And we're not going to ask for a higher rate than $16.70 a month. That would be my suggestion.
Right, and with that also being said, just so everybody can be aware of, once this goal is met, and if we do this, okay, we're gonna do this for a year's time. If we meet this goal in 6 months' time, or 4 months' time, that's the end of it. This, say the $16.70 a month, that's done. So we may end up only having to pay for a few months. It may take a full year, I'm not sure.
The only other thing I'd like to clarify, because I'd sure hate to give FEMA any credit they don't deserve, this is not FEMA money. This is Natural Resources and Conservation Service money. It's federal money, it's still your money. It's just not FEMA money. This is not a FEMA project, and they certainly should not deserve the credit for it. The office in Joliet, Chris Wallstead is in charge of that NRCS office. That, you know, that's where a lot of that credit should go to, is the NRCS office and the conservation districts of both counties.
And I agree wholeheartedly. These people have worked hard and diligently to get all this in place for us. And I would like to thank them greatly, because without them, we wouldn't have it. And their diligence, anytime you're working with the government, your I's have to be dotted, and T's have to be crossed. And that means every one of them, because if you don't do one, then they kick it back, and you have to redo it. So these people will work diligently to make sure that that happens. I can't stress enough how, I guess, proud or glad that they worked so hard to get this for us. So,
And just to make everybody aware of FEMA did for me is they stole my identity. That's what I got from FEMA.
anyway, so is there any more questions? Do we need to come up? More ideas?
A question for Mr.
Yes, sir.
The question is, all the monies, I'm just at, all the monies that commissioners have for our county, since that is a county bridge, right? Did they come up with a little money for the commissioners, put a little bit more money, because that is protecting a little bit of the bridge too?
And that's our 140.
They already have.
145 plus the
Well,
14.
We already got that money.
we've already contributed $13,000 for administration. And then we've committed another 145.
Yeah.
I know you're,
I make a motion that the council decide and we go for it. Second.
Well, that's kind of the ultimate goal here. The council needs to decide which way we're gonna go with this. So,
I don't know why we're gonna have to, I don't wanna create any enemies.
Not at all.
I don't leave it up to you folks to make the decision, and let's work together to figure this out. Something that's fair for everybody. I understand there's some folks here that can't afford $200 up front. I can do it personally, some of you folks can't. Maybe I can come up with a little bit more, to help everybody out. I'm in a process of finishing my deck over there, so I don't know. We'll see.
My name is Chuck Roush. I'm a water bill payer.
I don't drink the water, so I don't pay the bill.
How does this, if you put this program together, and you need to write a check, can you borrow the money on the strength of this rate increase? Or do you have the money?
we have the money, I believe, in the budget, but it's not budgeted for this.
Is it accessible? So that
It's accessible.
So that the minute that this idea
We're
just
looking at,
gets approved, it'll go.
yeah, these guys have to approve. That's their main function as council. They have to know where their money's coming out of which account. Yes.
I just didn't want to have another hurdle jump up. It sounds like you've got a full understanding if the money comes through, it almost becomes a moot point. If all the money comes through like it's been outlined. And the only problem being the $15,000 that you don't want to use out of your emergency fund.
Well, that is correct. The 15,000 is in a water fund that, in case we broke a water line, we probably, I don't know, how much do we have in our water fund? Do you have any idea? And you gotta bear in mind that in our water fund, a third of everything that we spend comes out of the water fund. That's on daily everything. So,
What
So
was
water
it?
fund right now, we have $60,102.43.
okay, so we have $60,000 in there to get us through until July. If we write the check and pay that, and then work on this program of getting the other money to pay back into our funds to bring it back up to where the books will balance themselves. That's what we're at. That's what I'm at. If the 15,000, if we were gonna have, now I'm gonna knock on wood here, if we were gonna break a water line, we would have broke it during that hard freeze. I'm hoping that we don't break a water line between now and July. It has happened. But we could have 2 or 3 with our water system as it is now. It's very old, very brittle, and every time the ground shifts, it breaks a line. So, even though we had that cold snap, it went down as long as the ground doesn't shift. Like you tell me that the frost is 1 to 2 feet. So, you know, I don't want to on faith, you know, wind and prayer.
Well, the point I was just trying to make is if you use your basic emergency fund, if there's another way to cover that in case of an emergency.
There is.
There is.
Yes.
So,
We keep a certain fund that's used specifically for critical emergencies.
I think there's an understanding of what people are comfortable with. And maybe somebody make a motion that the council design this program and work at the best angle that you can as the little boogie factors get worked out.
Okay? That's what I would like to see.
Well, real quick here before I make this motion, I'm gonna ask the attorney to make sure. So if we decide to go forward with this and we wanna do this, we need to have another meeting. We need to make a motion tonight to set up for a resolution.
I hear you right. You haven't decided whether you want to go forward yet or not. If I hear you right, what you should do, and my recommendation would be, is that you would make a motion to set a hearing, a public hearing, whether you guys want to raise the rates. And at that point, there would be a resolution, a proposed resolution that you're going to look into. And then there would be a process where you have to provide public notice. Usually published in the newspaper. It's also posted at the
Posting sites.
yeah, the hosting sites. So there's a process in place. And so today, there would not be a decision whether you want to go forward with this or not, because this was not noticed as a rate change position.
Okay.
The motion is just, you want to set a hearing, and that could be at the next regular setting, or that could be at an emergency setting, a special setting, it's up to you. But at that point, there would be a decision made at that point, whether you want to do this or not.
My question, is it just published once in the newspaper? Is that sufficient, or does it have to be published twice?
There's a code section on that. I want to say twice, but I'll look at it and get that.
Okay, okay.
And I can get it with Harley.
Okay, so then I guess I make that motion.
I second it.
So if I hear you right, the motion
Is for a public hearing.
to set a public hearing, yes, for a rate increase up to, I think up to including, what is it, the $236
$36.
for a 1 year time frame for a 16.70 cents for a monthly allowance.
Correct.
For 12 months.
Now, this has to be advertised in the paper.
Yes.
Maybe twice.
Because
it's a rate
the
increase.
Carbon County News only comes out once a week.
Not everybody.
They just have to advertise, it doesn't mean you have to read it.
That's a true story.
That is,
So I have
That's
a
a week
question
or
for
2
you.
weeks.
If that is posted in the newspaper and we're set on a very slim timeline, could we also go ahead saying that this is a proposal that the work is going to be done and started?
You mean approve it without approving it? No.
Setting it, getting the water rates in the paper to everyone, but then, since it's just a notification, could the council not prepare to have the work started since we're on a timeline?
Well, the town council has not voted whether this rate increase should happen. So
I
the-
thought it was just done.
Proposal.
The proposal is a notice.
We have to face, because it's a rate increase, Montana code requires us to advertise this. I mean, we're in favor of it, but we have to follow procedure. Does that explain the deal?
Right.
It could be published it could be published this Thursday in the newspaper bill. And then if it has to be done twice, and there's just a section on that I can look over real quick.
Okay.
What
It could
would,
be posted again next week, and so
Yeah.
that's within a, what?
We can have it at our next
Yep, we can have it after next week.
Yeah.
What would happen if we published it in the Billings Gazette, the daily paper?
You have to publish in your county.
Yep, there's a code section that says you publish in the newspaper of general circulation within your county. Carbon County News is the newspaper of general circulation within Carbon County.
Does social media cover that? Okay.
How about door-to-door notice?
Well, let's,
All right,
we'll plan on
I'll make
that.
the rules.
We'll get a date set up. Have you got a question?
Yeah, what's coming month is February, right? You're gonna be sending out water bills. Why don't you send out a letter to each person in the town with the proposal? And also put one in the paper, like you say. That is letting everybody know, right? Okay, and then, you know, ask for people when they bring in their bills or whatever, give the, you know, ask them to bring back part of the paper, say, yes, you agree to this, yes, you don't. That way, everybody is included. Does that sound okay, fair?
That will never work unless you explain what it's for.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, he's got a good idea though.
It's a great idea.
As long as you publish the entire letter when it's.
We would have to,
Also-
yeah, we don't want to make this any more complicated than it already is. And we need to have this done as quickly as possible. So if we advertise in Carbon County News, and that comes out when? If we advertise now, will it come out this Thursday?
You have to get it in, you have to contact Alistair tonight to make sure that he knows that it's coming tomorrow.
Okay,
I'll get you his information.
okay. And then we can set this up just as quickly as we can, so we can make this proposal as quickly as possible, yes. And then if things change, Scott?
Well, I mean, I was just gonna suggest to me, and I think what you guys' intent is to use your water money. I mean, once you, in theory, pass this motion, you could then pass another motion, and Dennis, and, you know, stop me if I get him in trouble, but pass another motion still tonight that we are going to pay the balance of whatever is left. And then, you know, you hope that the public hearing goes the way you plan it to, and you reimburse that account, and you don't have to do it as quickly as possible. You can do a good job and you know, let more people know and do, you know, have the meeting. It doesn't have to be as quickly as possible if you're going to use the money out of the $61,000 account anyway. That would be my thought. But that way, to give folks here more comfort that this project is going to not get stalled up in public notices for the next 3 weeks. But that's just my opinion.
Exactly.
Scott's sitting over there picking my brain.
Did I read your mind?
Yeah, yeah, you must have read it. This 36,000 is available right now, right?
What, Amy's gonna check tomorrow how soon that timeline is.
How long that takes.
And we've got extra money in the water fund that we can put with it to come up with the amount that we need. Then we go for that resolution to raise the water rates.
But if we did that, I can't authorize us to put in $15,000 unless these guys vote on it and say, yes, do it.
Oh, I know that. No, they're the ones that tell you what to do.
Yeah, yeah.
So
You know,
if that were the case, and you put the 15,000 in, then it would only be, what did we figure out, like a little over $5 a month to reimburse that account from everybody for 12 months on their water bill after that. If the 36,000 comes through, which Amy's are coming through, Scott's are coming through, pretty much. So then if everybody would feel more comfortable about paying a little over $5 a month after all of this,
Yeah,
That's not the
understand.
problem. We have to
Well-
follow gross
Okay,
follow the protocols. I mean,
let's just let her roll through.
Yeah, it was, that same thing that Scott was saying, use that money out of that 61,000, make up the difference. And then go for this rate increase, and we'll pay that back. And once we get it paid back, that comes down off the water bills. Because I had a rate increase on my water bill just last month. Nobody said anything about rate increases.
No, there shouldn't be any.
It's always been
increase.
at $45 a month, it was up to $50 last month. And there was not a meter read.
No.
And I read the
All I can
meter,
say is you need
and
to
I
come to
used
the
a lot
clerk's
more,
office.
I used a lot more water than what she said I used. Yeah, I know. Thank you.
Using Scott's money's great, but the problem is unless you pass a resolution, you just stole, to raise the rate, you just stole his money. That's what it amounts to, so unless, he's guaranteed, he said he's gonna give you the money, but then you have to guarantee you have to raise the rates. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Yeah, otherwise, yeah, it's a no-go unless you raise the rates. See what I'm saying? He said he'll cover you. Just gotta raise the rates.
Well, that's something I think that we'll need to sit down and get written out on the paper. That's exactly the way we need to have it written down. What we want.
I'll keep this very brief. It's really heartwarming to see the town want to pull.
What's your name?
Sorry, Dan Ock. It's heartwarming to see the town pull together and want to help, because we sincerely do want to help. To me, there's really only one issue. That's the wells. That's really what these three separate things in my mind come down to, are the wells. The wells get messed up, Mike says 8 feet on a normal year, could be as much as that. That's, it's just a matter of time. So if we just break it down to, basically, you up there, you need to protect our wells. That's what it comes down to, and we have to do what we have to do.
And I agree with that. It is, and that's the only reason we've got this grant worked out this far, is because of the wells.
All we can do is, motion to have another meeting.
That's
We
what
have
he
the
did.
motion to have another meeting.
Yeah.
We'll get a second in a second.
I seconded it.
They just didn't vote.
On having.
I seconded it.
Yeah, you voted.
You didn't vote on it.
That I need intent is that to have a special meeting, to have another meeting.
So we have a motion on the table then, and a second to have